Get ready for bold moves and meaningful impact. Welcome to the Bold and Brilliant podcast, where women share the decisions that changed everything. Today's guest is Diana Morgan, conscious digital impact strategist, international #1 best-selling author, and creator of the Whole Heart social media success formula. With over 30 years of entrepreneurial experience, Diana has built multiple successful businesses and helped thousands of purpose-driven entrepreneurs master online communication, networking, and client attraction. In this episode, Diana shares the bold decision that shaped her path and how leading with intention and heart can transform your visibility, your business, and your impact. Welcome, Diana, to the Bold and Brilliant podcast. All right, Diana Morgan, I am so excited to have you on the podcast. Welcome to the party.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yay. Okay, so you and I have been running in concentric circles with each other for many years now. We met in Canarita's community, of course. Yeah. I've been there for 7 years. You've been there longer than me. So you were already like this fixture of professionalism and success that I saw when I came in. It's like, wow, she really knows what she's talking about. And since you do social media, of course, I'm very drawn to that topic and to the way that you bring that into the world. So before we talk about how you do that, though, I want to make sure to address anyone here who hasn't met you yet, however many few people that may be, who learn a little bit more about you, what you do, and maybe like how you decided to do what you do. So give us a little origin story. Kick us off.
Okay. I'll give you the short version.
Sounds good.
Okay, so I'm a recovered corporate misfit. And what happened for me, in my younger years, I wanted money, power, and prestige. And I decided I wanted to make twice as much money as a man. I mean, as much money as a man, and I was willing to work twice as hard for it. And I set out on that path. Mm-hmm. And very early on in my 20s, I got very sick because I was trying to fit the round peg in the square hole, or whatever it is. And, it just didn't fit for me, but I kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And,
was the round peg in the square hole or whatever?
Yeah.
Because you were doing work that didn't align with you, or just the environment, or being corporate at all of it?
Yeah, all of it. Okay. Plus that whole showing up, I was going in from like 7 to 3 or 4, just that whole showing up every day like that. And, I would kind of stand at the door and get ready to walk in every day and go like, okay, I have my costume on. I have to put on my act and be this person, and
oh my gosh, that's so crazy.
It was not my passion. It was just about making money.
And what were you doing?
Well, I was doing, by the end, my last job, I had worked my way up from accounts receivable to assistant controller of a computer company.
Oh, wow. Okay. So the money gal.
Yeah. And it was just not for me. And I'm getting ahead of myself, but I remember the owner of the company doing a review when I had just gotten back from my maternity leave of 4 months, and nobody had done my job the whole time I was gone. And so I wasn't getting a raise and and the review was that I didn't fit into the company culture. And so I'm a sober alcoholic, and at about 5 o'clock every night they were all going out and drinking, and I just wasn't embracing that life. And I would come in really early in the morning because I had to deal with people on the East Coast. So I was in at 7, but nobody knew I was there. So when I left at 3, people would be like judging me. And so when he said, you don't fit in with the company culture, I said, thank you. And so anyway, super long story short, I went down a rabbit hole. So while I was doing that work, I was a non-denominational minister, and I decided, I was officiating weddings and different ceremonies. And that was really my calling, and it was really my heart work. And, I grew up in the era of don't make money doing the thing you love, because then you'll start hating it. So, so I was just doing the same, making a little bit of money, but not much. Anyway, so I had mentioned, I got sick in that corporate life, literally almost died. And still, it wasn't enough for me. Like, I'm going to just make this work. And then, long story short, I got married. I had a child. One day, my son came home from school and said he hated school. And that was that turning point for me. It was like I could sacrifice for myself, but I couldn't sacrifice for him. And so I was taking one of those, I call it that cosmic kick in the butt seminar where you go, I'm quitting my job in 6 months. And then I got
Yeah.
the voluntary layoff in 30 days. So I got laid off and I took it and I decided to turn my hobby into a business. And
Yeah.
that's what I did. And over the next 20 years, I was very successful with it. It was my non-denominational ministry, Blessings to You Wedding Ministry. And I got my master's degree in holistic health education and counseling. And I was doing marriage prep and relationship coaching and all of that. And it was really wonderful. I got to be a stay-at-home and a working mom. I got to raise my son and be an entrepreneur for him and be there for him. And it was great until about the last 5 years. And when I didn't have an exit strategy, and I was like, okay, this is not the life that I want anymore. I mean, it was like, it's a very intense life. You're working every weekend, it's very intense work. And I was complete. It was like I was complete. And then it was just back to becoming a job. Like I turned
Yeah.
my hobby into a business and then it became a job. So what happened is during the off season, I started helping the other wedding professionals with their internet marketing. So I skipped a part, which is how I got ahead of the curve was that I cracked the code and figured out how to get to the top of Google. So I was doing 100 weddings a year. I had 6 other ministers because of that. So because I was so successful with that, a lot of the other wedding professionals were like, hey, can you help me? So I started doing that.
Oh, so not in your organization, like consulting for
Yeah,
other wedding professionals. Got it.
photographers,
Oh,
DJ.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, this is fun. I like this. It really speaks to my inner geek. And so what I did was I decided that I would transition and bring together my spiritual self and my inner geek and marry them and create this business, Whole Heart Marketing, of helping people who are healing the world with who they are in their businesses.
Yeah. I
And
love
so
that.
that's how I got there in 2008 is when I founded Whole Heart Marketing.
Awesome. It's so interesting because, people, obviously we know the name of your business. Everyone, currently in our connected communities understands what you do and everything. But I think a lot of us until recently didn't really know how you got there and all of that company that you had created before and everything. I think I've only heard you start to talk about that really in the last, which I'm sure you weren't keeping it a secret, but in the last year or so. Was that kind of as a result, like working on your book? Did it start to come out? Like when did you start to really lean into that story as a reason to help
I
people?
wasn't really keeping it a secret. So,
Right.
so I know you know about my book,
Yeah.
my Whole
Congratulations.
Heart Social Media Success Formula. And this book, I really incorporate my story of how I came to
Yeah.
marketing and to social media because what happened was, I started this business doing websites and SEO and all that. And then when social media happened, I first loved it. I joined everything. Actually, it was MySpace just to stalk my kids.
Me too.
And then I started to embrace Facebook and all that. And then I, like many of us, started to hate it. And so I had to really dig deep to understand social media from a spiritual perspective because that's just who I am. And so coming out with my story, and I have this other book that I just came out, and it's
Yeah.
called The Power Within: Finding Strength, Voice, and Vision. And my story in there is really the most personal story I've ever told, which is basically finding my voice in my life and online.
Yeah.
And sharing my story became a passion for me because I saw so many people, so many empowered, powerful women shying away from social media. And
Mhm.
that's what really motivated me to say, like, okay, I have to walk my talk. I have to be real. I have to really share my story that I'm a total introvert. I took me 6 weeks to push send on my first blog. Speaking is, I call it a public speaking. I used to call it like an occupational hazard of my work. And, it's like I didn't start out loving all of this. I started out hating it, and then the passion and the drive to help people to get their message out is what kept me
Yeah.
going until I could love it.
So I love that because so what comes to my mind is the fact that we talk to women every day, both of us, who the whole reason they started their business is because they wanted to help people in whatever expert way that they do, whether they're a coach or they have technical expertise or whatever. Even if you're, an accountant,
Mhm.
you became an accountant because maybe you just became an accountant, but some people who move into a new field like that would be because they had their own personal transformation, or they saw someone in their family need help and the help that they got really inspired them, or all of those kinds of. I became an entrepreneur because I wanted to help people. And I
Yeah.
always tell people, since I started health coaching, I'm like, I didn't realize I wanted to become a coach. I thought I just wanted to lose some weight. I didn't know I wanted to change the world,
Right.
and it's really kind of how it turns out once you recognize all of those underlying layers underneath all of our stories. So I love that you started, really leaning into that full story, because it makes people relate their own story to you even
Exactly.
more.
Right. And it's like, we all have to find whatever it is within ourselves that can push us to be present. Like your whole thing about being bold. It's like it has to come from our purpose. We
Yeah.
can't just decide like, oh, I'm going to do social media, or I'm going to be bold, it has to come from our purpose, because what many of us have to push through to be who we are in the world is a lot. And so it has to come from a place of purpose.
Yeah, I totally, totally agree. It's funny when you were telling your story of like putting on your outfit, your
A
persona
costume.
for the day. I absolutely felt exactly the same way. Straighten my hair, wear the clothes, whatever, being 6 feet tall, like, how do you dress professionally when you're bigger than everyone, as a woman? And it was a challenge. And also, just from a personality standpoint, the whole bold thing came out of, yeah, I was performative in work all the time, putting on the show of professional Tracy. And once you realize that, that is what you thought was required there, and maybe it was and maybe it wasn't, but we definitely thought it was either way.
It was. And
Yeah.
and let me just say that another piece of that, besides my costume, was okay, let me shrink my brain
Yep.
capacity down to about 1% of my capacity, so that I
Yeah.
fit in.
Oh, can you help me?
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
can fit in, you
Yeah,
know, no
totally.
creativity, no expression, just be an automaton.
Yeah. And doing what you're told
Yeah.
and doing what your boss tells you to do. And it's the whole
Yeah.
boss factor, patriarchal, everything,
Yep.
right?
Yep. All of it.
Yeah, I'm with
And
you, my
this
friend.
was like in the 90s, so
Yeah.
it was, and the 80s, and it was very patriarchal. I mean, it
Yeah.
was like, the whole glass ceiling and all that. It was really a different life.
Totally, totally. Yeah, I always joke about, like, I was trying to tap on the glass ceiling. I use that same thing. You're a little bit older than me, so you have that like 80s you were working. I
Yeah.
wasn't really working till I was more in the 90s, but it's yeah, the
Yeah.
idea that you have to show up a certain way. And I know corporate's still like that. And there's women out there who are
Yeah.
still dealing with that every day. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So I love it. Okay, so let's talk about your new book a little bit more. Yeah, I know you literally just came out last week, so you don't even have a hard copy to hold
No,
up
I
for
know.
me.
I have, this is the
You're
Kindle
like, here it
version.
is. So tell us what the name of that is again, and how is that an evolution for your writing and your book stuff?
It's called The Power Within: Finding Strength, Voice, and Vision. And there's 14 authors, and the each one of us is sharing how we found our voice, and so for me it is really truly the most personal version of a book. Like, this is a solo book, my book, Whole Heart Marketing, Whole Heart
Mhm.
Social Media Success Formula. But that, and I wasn't really looking to do another chapter. I mean, it was like, I wasn't like the person who um, organized the book.
Compiled the book,
Yeah,
yeah.
there you go. She's the one who contacted me, and I met her, and she's this amazing woman, Ginny Wimmer, and we just started to connect. And she has a Facebook group with like 8,000 amazing women, and I jumped into this because I wanted to be a part of that community. And, I bring what I do into that community. And there's a lot of people in that community who have a lot to give and are
Love
not
that.
being out there.
Yeah, I
So,
love that. Well, and you being a part of that community, you're going to help them realize how they can do it
yeah.
more easily and without feeling icky. So talk about how you're helping your clients, because I just want to make sure I don't miss anything, because I know a lot of
Yeah.
the answers to these questions that I'm asking, but I want to make sure we get them on the podcast so other people can learn more about how you work.
Thank you. You know, and you don't know
Oh,
because
it's also true. Very true.
I'm actually in a transition right now.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So I am really focused now on a couple of things. One is I call it my whole heart social media makeover. And this is where a lot of people, they're doing all these things and they're not getting any results. And so I help them to bring, this is like one of my superpowers. I help them to bring their message, their funnel, their email, their social media all together on all of their platforms and including their website, and
Mhm.
just help them to get everything in alignment and figure out their strategy. So that's one thing I do. And another thing I do is it's my whole heart path to profit. And it's a program where I take people from message to funnel to email to social media, and then how to hand it off to a virtual assistant.
Okay,
They
awesome.
need to do and what the assistant can do. And those are two things that and that's one-on-one. And those are two things
Mhm.
I've been doing basically for like the past 20 years.
Yeah.
Then I do have some done with you clients. So my thing is, I used to have this whole done for you company, as you know. And what I learned was that the people who are my clients, who are purpose driven women entrepreneurs, they need to still know how to do it, even if they're going to hand it off to someone.
Mhm.
And they need to do the part of it themselves, which is they need to show up on social media. They need to be present and they can't just go here, do it. And so this program, I was teaching it as a group. Now I'm focused on one-on-one, and it's just really helping people to get everything set up and running. And then it's templates, it's cookie cutter. It's here is what you do to hand it off to an assistant.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited about that. And so I stopped doing the done for you because I just felt like I have a few of those clients, but they're very much bigger clients. But it's like I feel like it felt more empowering for me to teach people how to fish.
Do
And
you find that part of that is, are you working mostly with solopreneurs,
mostly
small
solopreneurs,
businesses, right?
small businesses,
So
purpose
like
driven.
if they're not like allowing their face and their voice to show up literally on social media, then there's a like it seems like the done for you stuff works good for like a company that isn't a person as much. Is that
Right.
true?
It is true. And so I'm going to get up on my soapbox for a moment. I'm actually doing a training this week that I do ongoing. So it is evergreen for anyone who listens
Great.
in a month or two or three. And it's really about how to marry free organic reach with AI. Because
Mm.
what's happening now is people are feeling like, oh, why should I bother with social media? It's all AI. And the thing is that, so my strategy is evergreen. The whole heart social media success formula is evergreen. And what I've been doing for 20 years. It's never going to go away because here's the thing. There's two components to social media. Okay. So there's free organic reach. There's us. There's humans,
Right. The people.
right? And how we show up and interaction and engagement. And then
Mhm.
there's ads, right? Those
Yeah.
are the two
Right.
components. So if we don't show up, it's just ads. And nobody to see them.
So true. Right.
So basically that's the bottom line. My inner geek is speaking right now.
Yeah.
And so here's the
Preach, my friend.
yes, so that if the social media platforms, all of them, are always going to do things to entice us to show up. Because if we don't show up, there's no one to see the ads.
Right.
So things like doing reels, things like using AI tools, things like making fun videos on it's all great. But it's like we have to also show up as ourselves because free organic reach is the engine of social media. It is what makes your posts show. If you don't show up, if you're like, I hear people do this all the time. I'm posting, nobody's seeing them, nobody's not in it. Well, you know what? Because you're not showing up. You have, that's the engine. Once you show up, then everything else starts to show.
Yep. Yeah, I find I I always love listening to you because it just like really fires me up to show up even more. And I find that any time I post, like I have something big going on with my kids or it's Halloween, right? Halloween's a great example. That just happened. It's November here right now. When we're all posting pictures of our kids in our costumes or ourselves in costumes or parties or whatever. And all of a sudden things change in what we're seeing because all the
Right.
people are showing up.
Right, exactly. And one thing I like to remind everybody, it's like just because people aren't liking, commenting, and sharing your content, it doesn't mean they're not seeing it.
Yes.
And reach and views are about who the platforms are showing your content to. So, do you comment on every single post you see? I don't, but I see them,
Right.
so it's like people need to remember that. So I get that people feel invisible, but it's like show up and go and play with the people you want to play with,
Yeah.
and if you feel like people aren't seeing your posts, go play with the people who you want to see your posts. And guess what? They'll
They will
start
see
seeing
them.
your posts because
Yeah.
that's how it works.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
like life, as my husband used to say, just like
Yeah.
life.
Right. Yeah. If you talk to someone and
Yeah,
you want to become their friend, you got to talk to them.
exactly.
Yeah, that's so real. The whole like if you post and post and post but don't show up as yourself, right? Like I think that there's a lot of people who are so concerned about those vanity numbers of how many likes and comments and all of those things. Like, are we posting to get likes? Are we posting to share something with people? Because if
Right,
you're posting to share something with people, then just post it and
exactly.
it'll get to the right people. And if it doesn't get to the right people or any people, then maybe need to change your habits or something.
Exactly. And it's not the algorithm thing. It's like I wrote this blog and there's a chapter in my book about it. Stop playing the algorithm game. Are you playing the algorithm game or are you playing the relationship game?
Yes.
Because the algorithm game, it's a no-win. It's going to change. It's a win every time or it's a no-win. It's going to change every minute. But
Yeah.
when you show up and when you start engaging, you are the algorithm. You are determining the algorithm.
Yeah.
It's like humans trump the algorithm.
It's so good. Wow. I wonder how many people are going to be like mind blown out of this conversation because it really is so smart. Like, and we say the same thing, right? Like, be social media is named that way for a reason. Go be social
Exactly.
on the media.
Exactly. That's exactly true.
Yeah.
Be social, show up, and be present because everything is energy. And so people feel energetically like we all experience social media energetically, but we don't even, many people are not aware of it.
Right.
For example, you can tell when somebody is just not really present. I can tell when it's not them and it's their VA. And sometimes I'll ask
Right.
someone, are you the VA or are you the person? I can tell. And
Yep.
it's like I can tell when people are embracing their social media or when they're just pumping out posts because they hate it.
Right. They pre-scheduled things a month in advance and it's like your whole energy isn't the same as it was a month ago.
And that's fine on your business social media. Don't get me wrong, there's a place for that. But where you're really going to get your visibility and your reach is on your personal
Yeah.
social media.
Talking to people. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you can
Yeah.
still talk
Let's
about your business on your personal social media.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's go into that a little bit because we definitely have the folks who are like, I post on my business page, I post on my business page, and nothing happens and nothing happens. And they want to keep their personal profile for friends,
Right,
like people they actually know, quote.
right.
Talk about that.
So each person has to make a decision about what they're doing on social media.
Of course.
Like, so for me, I'm on there to grow my business, to inspire people to have a bigger impact. So even though I call it my personal profile, first of all, I have it in professional mode. And so right now I'm going to say my disclaimer. Even if you have your personal profile in professional mode, it's not a business page. It's still your personal profile. So you can't just be promoting, and click here, or you're going to get dinged. but you can do boosting posts, you can do ads if you want, but you have to, but you have to really show up. And I just went to like, I want to talk about, so the new algorithm shift is that it's interest based versus friends and followers. So what
Okay.
that means is that Facebook in particular, but pretty much all social media, they are showing your content to 50% of the people that they're showing your content to are not friends and followers. So if you are really using language that speaks to your ideal clients, then that's how
Gonna
they're
find
going to
other
know
people.
who to show your content to. And right now, it's still about hashtags. Within the next year or two, probably hashtags are not going to be a thing, but don't give up on hashtags yet. I'm saying use it now. And, next year when I come on Tracy's
Yeah.
podcast, maybe we'll have a different conversation.
We'll do an annual update or
There you go.
whatever frequency update. I
Yeah.
love that.
But what I tell people is on your personal social media, which is like, the LinkedIn personal aspect, the Facebook personal profile, it's share your passion for your business. And
Yeah.
then on your business page, share your business. So you could share like, hey, I'm so excited about being on this podcast, or I shared a ton of stuff about my book launch, but not a million click here. It was like, DM me if you want the link, and someone told me recently, I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard a couple days ago that on LinkedIn, you can post and don't put the link and then go in and edit and add the link. And apparently, once you post, it's hit the algorithm. So then you can add the link after. I don't know
Huh,
if it's true or not. And
who
you
knows?
feel free to test it and get back to me. But yeah, so on my mostly, and when you're liking, commenting, sharing, and playing on social media, you are doing that from your personal profile on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Nobody cares if Whole Heart Marketing liked your post. If Diana Konkoff Morgan liked your post, then we
Right.
care, right?
Right.
Like
Absolutely.
it's just it's that businessy feeling. So
Yeah.
the more you show up, the more you play with people. I like to say play because it's the right mindset. The more you play with people and people who are in alignment with your message, people who are active on social media, people who are potential strategic partners for you. And the more you play with people, the more people are going to play with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I it's the piece that I love about, okay, I'm like, what did I want to say? I wanted to say that I love the idea of coming back and doing a recap. I want to make sure people know that this conversation is happening in November 2025, just in case, right? We're talking about algorithms and details and stuff that may not be true whenever it is that you're
By
listening to
tomorrow
something.
morning, for all we know.
Yeah, who knows? Exactly. But the point is that it doesn't matter, right? The point is that it doesn't matter. Go be a person, go be social, share your life, share what you're excited about, share your Halloween costumes, share your happy client,
And
share
that will
the,
still be true next year
yep,
and the year after. And as long as social media exists, that will always be true.
100%. Yep, I love that. I love that. Okay, my friend, let's see. Um, I could ask you a million like specific questions, but I think that that's probably better served for people coming to your workshop and things like that, because it'll be more timely and more specific to, what you're teaching in that day. You do, like you mentioned, you've got lots of ways to serve clients one-on-one. You do group things. I know you have a community. Talk about the value of community and where your business is right now, because I know you do like get things done sessions and stuff like that. Talk about the community factor for your company.
Sure. So I have a community. I offer a free training every month. I have this thing where I always say they always come back because I'm always, in my industry, like you said, whatever was true, I always say whatever I'm telling you was true as of this morning. So
Right.
it's always changing. And so I'm always offering ways for people to get the latest social media information. I have a Facebook group where I offer, if someone asks me a question, I might do a live in there, or I will just type the answer in. I did my social media love challenge recently. I'm going to do it
Oh
again
yeah.
in January. And, it's like, I think that for me, I have a huge group, a huge following of people. And what I want to say about this, so I'm read my book about the social media success formula, but probably about at least 50% of my content is education. It's sharing what's new. It's valuable. And that's why people don't unfollow me. And that's why people comment on my stuff. And I do a blog. I have a blog that I've been doing for like, 20 years too. And so, and my email list. Okay, so I'm back on my soapbox for one moment. Here's the thing. Social media could go away tomorrow.
Right?
It's just marketing until it's a community, it's fun, it's great until it's not. And then it's like, whatever. Get people on a list. Your purpose of social media is to connect with people, to build relationships and take people to the next level. Like I have a blog. I send it out every couple of weeks. It's the Whole Heart Marketing Report. And my goal is to get people onto that list so that I can stay in touch with them, keep working with them, keep letting them get to know me, keep getting to know them. And so it's like you cannot use Facebook group as your database or your email marketing. Please,
Right.
have
I
a,
always tell everyone, don't you remember the day Facebook went down and the
yeah.
total panic and disaster that it was for so many people?
I remember it because it was the day before my birthday, and I'm in a networking group. And every year on that day, which is March 13th, we do this big connect thing with everyone in the organization. And yeah, Facebook went down. I was like, oh, well, I'll go send everyone an email, right?
Right. Right.
And so that's really important. So email is part of your community.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. I absolutely concur and can't agree enough.
And,
Um,
back to community for a minute. So
mhm.
what I also recommend to people is that you be in some, like, not a million, maybe 5 or 6 Facebook groups. Okay. And be active in them, which
Yeah,
means you're liking, commenting, sharing, and not promoting too much and not doing drive-by promoting where you just drop your thing and that's it.
and run away.
Then those are people that you can take to the next level to play with and to engage with more on social media
Yep.
by caring about what they're doing, not promoting your stuff. And so,
Yeah, you're not just dropping things in, you're learning about what they're doing and
exactly,
like, wow, I wonder how that went. I hope it goes great. Like, be a person.
exactly, exactly. And so, like, I have probably about 6 or 7 groups now that I'm super active in, and I show up energetically. I show up in those groups. I'm present in those
Yeah.
groups, and they're
How
people.
do you respond to people who say that it's all too overwhelming for them? Just start with one.
Okay, so that's my 5 people. Pick 5 people
Yes.
a week. Yes. So it's like I tell this to everybody. Pick 5 people a week to play with. Okay. And so these are people who you already know them. They're in the groups that you're in, maybe that you're already friends, you're connected with them somehow. And wherever you're connected with them, then connect with them on all your other social media and then start to like, comment, and share. And these are people, again, they're people who are active on social media. So you're playing the same game.
Yeah, you're not trying to like get someone
Yeah,
who's got a dead
right,
profile to back
right,
to life.
right. And there are people whose message is in alignment these days. You have to want to share their content.
Right.
And then there are people who are potentially strategic partners. They're big networkers. There are people who know a lot of people. One of those things has to be true. So
Yeah.
there are people that you want to play with. And then what does playing with them look like? It's liking, commenting, sharing, and caring. So caring is my acronym: connect, acknowledge, respond, and engage. So it's play with people,
Love that.
and not paste your next thing in their messenger.
Right.
It's
Right.
it's first, give first,
Yeah.
you care about them first and start building the relationships. And so if you pick 5 people a week, here's what happens. A few people will play with you, a few people won't. And
Mhm.
you'll know because you'll get notifications that you'll see, like, oh, Tracy liked my thing, or oh, Tracy commented, or
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
Karina did this or that. And so that's the first step, is to play. And you're going to start. A few people will play, a few people won't. The next week you pick 5 more people and keep playing with the other people. Next week you pick 5 more people. And if you keep doing this every week, first of all, you're going to start to really accelerate your social media, all from your personal profile, by the way. Okay.
Right.
And then the next thing is you're going to start liking what you see in your feed, because it takes about 30 days to manage your feed. And when you manage your feed by unfollowing, unfriend, do all that, and then you're telling the social media platform who you want to play with, then you start to like what's in your feed. And I don't know about you, but if you've ever had this, like, there's some days where I just like, there's been 4 or 5 days where I'm just not on my personal feed because something came up or whatever.
Sure.
And all of a sudden, like, I come back and it's like, what? I have to like look and make sure I'm using Facebook as myself and not like as my business page or one of the clients that I manage, because I'm like, what is all this stuff? Within like 4 or 5 days, my feed is already like bizarre stuff.
It totally tanks
Yeah.
just to weird stuff.
But when you manage your feed, it's things that you like. And then it's exciting. And then you start caring about social media. And
Yeah.
it's like, so here's the other thing. I'm the truth teller. I'm the Pisces. It's not like, this is what I hear all the time. I do all this stuff on social media and I'm not getting any clients. Okay. So social media is for marketing.
Right.
Marketing is about inspiring people to take action on the thing they need, on your expertise. It's not for sales. Okay. If you have some product and you're doing a Facebook ad, that's one thing, but those are not my clients. My clients are people who are selling themselves. They're essentially selling relationships. Okay. So it's about inspiring people. It's about building the relationship. So sometimes from that accelerated pick 5 people, you get more visibility. So sometimes you get speaking gigs. Sometimes you get opportunities. That the Power Within book that came to me, the opportunity to be a part of that book, totally came from my visibility. I mean, okay, so I'm going to brag for a minute. Um, if Katarina's watching this podcast,
You'll watch it eventually.
don't tell Katarina, because Katarina, she teaches us to do our reach outs for speaking.
Right.
I probably did 30 or 40 speaking gigs at least this year, not counting my own.
Mhm.
And most of those people came to me
Came to you.
and
Awesome.
said, "Hey, can you speak? Can you
I
come?"
love that.
Yeah. And so it's like, because I'm out there and I'm visible and I do post, this is one thing she does recommend. I do post, hey, everybody, I'm speaking about this or that. I post before, I post during, and I post after that I just spoke about. And I do that part of it, but I pretty much don't do any reach outs for speaking gigs. And
Well, and like you said, you are present and you're in the world and you're in communities and you're having relationships
right,
with people. And so the fact that you speak is not a secret.
right. I show,
So
I
yeah,
mean,
you
yes,
show
I
up
did
exactly.
apply to speak for Celebration, but in general, I get a lot of
And
speaking.
you were great. You were
Thank you.
fire on
Thank
that
you.
stage. That was great.
Thank you. But what I'm saying is, like, a lot of the opportunities, I get a ton of referrals. Half of my business comes from referral, at
I
least,
bet.
if not more. And that's from showing up. Oh yeah, Diana. Oh, my emails, all
Yeah.
of that stuff. So it's like, what are your expectations from social media? You have to manage your expectations. So think about what can visibility bring to you? And that's what it's not that one person, it's who they know.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely. Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I know we could just keep talking and keep going for like another, however long, another half an hour, another hour, but I think it's time to wrap things. And I was almost going to say that's a good wrap up, but I want to give you the opportunity to kind of tie it all up in a bow. Final thoughts.
Yes, I
Give it
would
what's
like
next.
to. Here's the thing. I'm talking to you. Your message matters. And whatever you're going through around social media, whatever frustration, whatever you think about Mark Zuckerberg, whatever is your issue, get over it, because we have the opportunity. Okay, here it is. I had this realization, and it was before I was going to speak for Polka Dot, that um, we have an opportunity to speak on the biggest stage that exists in our civilization, which is social media. And
Yep.
if you're going to pass that up because of whatever the thing is, I want you to look at what that is. What is that for you? Because a lot of times it's fear, it's resistance, it's all those things. But think about all the people that you could reach and all the healing that you could do by really embracing social media.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it.
And
I'm
one
just,
more thing, which is, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I do offer a free training every month. And that is my contribution. And that is about really understanding social media. And right now, my focus is on, the whole thing around free organic reach combined with or like co-intelligence, as we're calling it now, as opposed to artificial intelligence.
okay.
And
Co-intelligent.
and so it's like, come and just get inspired.
Yeah. Bring an open mind, an open like thought process. Allow yourself to hear Diana and see what shows up for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love
You.
that. Beautiful. Diana, thank you. I'm so grateful that we had this time together, that you spent your time coming on the podcast, and that I got to have my dose of Diana Morgan. I feel very inspired and very excited to go be visible on social media like right now. So,
Tracy, you're so awesome. I just love you so much. And I
oh,
love
you're so sweet.
your bold podcast and your whole bold message. I do. I totally do.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, mirror, mirror, my friend. We will see you again super soon.
Definitely.
Thanks. Thank you for listening to the Bold and Brilliant podcast. I'm your host, Tracy Root, and I want to invite you to check out the show notes, find out where you can connect with our guests, find out more about what I and the Gather community have to offer you, and be sure to subscribe to this podcast on your favorite platform. Thanks so much.